Do you feel the vibes?
What's up, YouTube? It's Carolina Calvin coming back to you with another video, and welcome to my NFL 2018 wildcard predictions. Before I get into those predictions for the NFL 2017 picks, I went 176 and 80. I talked about this in the last video that I did about the NFL. It was in the Panthers video. At the time, I didn't feel like tallying it all up. I said I was going to do it in this video, so that was pretty much my record for the regular season in terms of the picks. It was 176 and 80. So let me know down in the comment section what were your picks for the whole season, and did you do better than me? Now to quickly to get into these games, pretty much starting out the games on Saturday, 4:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, of course. The Tennessee Titans head to Kansas City to play the Chiefs. Now the Titans they snuck into the playoffs at the very end of the season, and they're playing against the Chiefs team. You still don't know. Of course, they're not playing the way they played early on in the season. They kind of they were another team that kind of snuck in and won that division. They were lucky that their division wasn't very good this season, so they did have the luxury of that. But key for each team, for Tennessee, they have to be able to open up the offense a little bit more. Because if you look at a lot of Tennessee games, two receiver routes, max protection, it's pretty vanilla. And when you get into playoff time, you got to be able to spread teams out. So I think and it's kind of hard to do just because you haven't done it all season. And you got a young quarterback who, you're trying to build up, but you're kind of coddling him behind that, your offensive system that you have. Your running game isn't as good as it was last season. The offensive line hasn't played as well. So you have to be able to open up the offense, allow your quarterback, you got a running quarterback, allow him to be able to move around, put more receivers out there, better route combinations, and start with this two receiver route crap. I still think running the ball is a very important thing, but they do have injuries at running back. I don't think DeMarco Murray's going to go. So you have to open up the passing game a little bit more. Tennessee defensively, I think they've been underrated defensively this year. A lot of people don't watch Tennessee games. They've been underrated this season. Their defense has played better than the Chiefs' defense. The Chiefs' defense coming into the season, no one would have said something like that. The Chiefs they've had injuries, early on in the season, and you can see it kind of affected them later on as teams have been able to put up points against them. Combine that with the offense really, slowing down because they had a really bad stretch in the season where they couldn't put up points, and they kind of went back to Alex Smith kind of reverted back to old Alex Smith, where a lot of short throws, none of the big plays that you saw early on in the season. Of course, they ended the season strong, which is a big reason why they're in the playoffs and why they have a home game in the playoffs. For the Chiefs, defense obviously gonna have to play better. Offensively, I think they need the big plays, and I think they'll get them. Kareem Hunt has been a beast all season and should be Rookie of the Year just because of how much he's carried on the team. A lot of people will see, he slowed down from early on in the season, but he still played good. He still ended the season good. They ended the season on a good note. Alex Smith, he's going to have to hit the big plays. Stuff that was working for them early in the season, which, was a big reason why they were so successful. I got the Chiefs. I think they have bigger play weapons. Kareem Hunt, Travis Kelce. Hopefully, Alex Smith is able to make those big plays that he was making earlier. But I like the Chiefs. And one thing that people don't look at with the Chiefs, which is something that's always overlooked when breaking down an NFL game, special teams. I think the Chiefs are going to make some plays on special teams, and it's weird to say, but I like the Chiefs just because I think their offense is more explosive than the Titans. Just the Titans, looking at them all season, it's a vanilla offense. And I haven't seen any indication that they were going to open it up for Mariota. And you're at this point in the playoffs, it's too late. That's the way you've been playing all season. It could happen. The guy can make plays. But I'm just going to go with Kansas City. At home, it's a tough place to play. Next game, the next game is at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is also on Saturday. The Atlanta Falcons head to Los Angeles to play the Rams. This is tough just because you got to travel across the country to play a really good team, offense that can put up a lot of points. Todd Gurley, potential MVP candidate. I don't think he's going to get it, but he's definitely up there in the conversation. Jared Goff is completely turned around. A lot of that is play calling, improvement of the offensive line, offensive weapons, Cooper Kupp, Sammy Watkins, guys who can go out there and make plays, catching the football. I like the changes to this Ram team. Defense is still solid. Looking on the other end, Atlanta got in with the last game of the season. They ended up beating the Panthers. They were win that game and you're in. Atlanta, they got so much talent on offense. The defense has stepped up because they weren't playing too well early on in the season, but they've stepped up. And with the offensive talent they have, they can score on anyone. Julio Jones, still physically the most unstoppable receiver in football. Freeman, it's a beast at running back. Excellent pass catcher. Offensive lines played well. You got Mohamed Sanu at receiver. You got talent. Hooper at tight end. Was hurt Atlanta all season. Why they kind of crept into the playoffs. Play calling. Sarkisian has been terrible. How you have all that talent and just the poor play calling that you've seen throughout the season. It's gotten better, just because you essentially just do what you were doing last year. You got the talent already there. I don't see how you can screw that up. Keys for both teams. For Atlanta, I think being able to slow down Todd Gurley is going to be important. Being able to slow him down, because he's the guy he's an engine for that Rams team. And if he gets going, they're going to be really tough to beat. And, the Rams are going to win time of possession at that point. Because, Todd Gurley, underrated pass catcher. He doesn't, you don't see him a lot. A lot of people don't see him as a pass catcher. But he makes plays. He makes guys miss. He runs decent routes. You just watch the games. But for Atlanta, they have to be able to slow down Todd Gurley. And also, hopefully Sarkisian comes through with the play calling. Like I said, he's gotten better, but you only expected that because of the talent they have. But I think the biggest key is slowing down that Rams offense, mainly Todd Gurley. They've been incredible this season. For the Rams, it's establishing Todd Gurley. But, I would say both defense, because a lot of people are predicting this being one of the shootouts of the wild cards, the wild card games. And it could possibly happen because both offenses can put up a lot of points. Both defenses have given up a good amount of points this season. So it could happen. But I think it's, like I said, the key for both teams is defense. Whoever gets the most stops, of course, they're gonna have the better chance of winning, and that sounds pretty simple. But based on what people have been saying, people expecting it to be a shootout, the offenses, you can see why that could be the case. But more importantly, Rams have to get pressure on Matt Ryan. They have to get pressure on Matt Ryan because this is a team that wants to throw the ball first. He is their star guy, Julio Jones. You get pressure on him, you can't get the ball to him. This guy's dangerous. So I think pressure for the Rams, getting pressure to Matt Ryan is going to be the most important thing, because they their team, great. They're great running the ball. Not as good as they were last season, but it has gotten better. Their strength is throwing the ball. Who I picked? I got the Rams at home. I know they're not a bunch of experience, but I think they're going to come in there. It's a home game. A lot of these guys' first playoff game. They're going to be fired up. I think Todd Gurley has a big day. Not only running the ball, but catching the ball. So I'm going to take the Rams in this one. Next game. This is Sunday. 1:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Buffalo Bills head to Jacksonville to play the Jaguars. Buffalo is another team that snuck into the playoffs. Of course, they had some help, but with Baltimore choking, so they had some help. And the problem I have coming in with Buffalo, all season they really haven't looked like a playoff team. They had stretches where they played really well. The defense was getting turnovers. The running game started to come alive. Here's the thing: Sean McCoy's injured. If he does play in this game, he's not 100%, and he is the number one guy on that offense. Tyrod Taylor, you expect him to carry the team against the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. A same defense that has given up some yards, has given up some points the last few weeks, but I just don't expect it from Tyrod Taylor, especially without Shady McCoy. On the other end, Jacksonville, Blake Bortles is so important. I mean, honestly, if he plays bad enough to where he's the sole reason Jacksonville loses, cut him. Because to me, this is, in terms of teams with the biggest advantage, I think this game right here, Jacksonville just has a huge advantage over Buffalo. But it's the playoffs. Anything can happen. But Blake Bortles, as long as he doesn't turn the ball over, and that's saying a lot because the last couple of weeks he hasn't played particularly well. Specifically that 49ers game, he was horrible. I talked about the defense, but I just think Jacksonville has more going for them. They have some underrated receivers as long as Blake Bortles can get them the ball. Running game, Fournette, he's been battling injuries all season, but running game is good. Running game is good when he's healthy. Defensively, they're a top sack team in the NFL for a reason. Calais Campbell has been a monster. A.J. Boye is one of the best corners in football. Jalen Ramsey, one of the best corners in football. I don't see Buffalo doing much against them. And I think, Jacksonville doesn't have a lot of experience. They're another team like the Rams who doesn't have a bunch of experience in the playoffs. But I think they're going to be fired up at home. They know people are kind of looking at them like, okay, are y'all guys legit? And I think they really be able to turn, step up. I think Blake Bortles plays better. I don't think he plays great, but I think he plays better. And I think the defense really shuts down Buffalo. But, as you already know my pick for that, keys for Buffalo, get turnovers. That's the, get short fields, get turnovers, because Blake Bortles can give up the ball. I think that's definitely important because Buffalo at the time, they were getting a bunch of turnovers early on in the season. So I think getting takeaways and being able to capitalize on a shorter field with takeaways, to me, that's really the only way, especially without LaShawn McCoy. And I don't think they could run the ball on Jacksonville anyway. For Jacksonville, Blake Bortles, take care of the football. I mean, it's pretty simple. Take care of the football, establish the run. That way Blake Bortles doesn't have to do as much. Establish the run. You can control the clock. Your defense is they're not going to score a bunch on your defense. And if you're able to get points while controlling the clock, you can beat with that defense, they can beat almost anyone in the playoffs. But I got Jacksonville in that one. The last game, Sunday afternoon, 4:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Carolina Panthers head to New Orleans to play the Saints for the third time. The Saints have beaten the previous two games. The Panthers played better in the second game, got destroyed in the first one, but New Orleans has been able to put up points. And the number one reason because of this, one, you can't get to Drew Brees. The guys have probably the best offensive line in football in terms. You look at the running game. Running game's been great. Ingram, Kamara, they've been able to run all over teams, and a lot of it's because of the offensive line. Look at pass blocking. Drew Brees is one of the least sacked quarterbacks in football. There's a reason for that. Not only because his ability to get rid of the ball quickly, but also offensive line. Offensive line blocking is great. So Carolina's going to have to find a way to get pressure. And that's one of my keys. Carolina has to find a way to get pressure on Drew Brees. And Kamara, they may have to put a corner on him. In terms of him coming out of the backfield catching the ball, they may have to put a corner on him. As the linebackers, the safeties, they just haven't done good enough. I think Luke Kuechly probably could. But it's proven that really no one can stop the guy if he, it's just you have to be able to limit him. He catches the ball, you make that tackle. You make it tough for him. You make it a tough throw, which Drew Brees can make, but you still got to make it tough. That's the best way to slow down a player like that. You got to make it tough. And if you looked at the last New Orleans-Carolina games, it's been easy. At least with Kamara as a receiver, it's been easy. Carolina, offensively, run the football. Run the football. The best way to slow down an offense that has been incredible, like the New Orleans Saints, keep them off the field. Carolina's a team that wants to run the ball. Jonathan Stewart's key because he's going to get majority of the carries. It's going to be split between him, Cam Newton, and of course Christian McCaffrey's going to run it a few times. But running the football is the most important thing to be able to control the clock and also getting points, touchdowns specifically, because you can't beat New Orleans with field goals. You just can't. So that's going to be an important thing. Also, another guy needs to step up. Greg Olsen's not 100%. Christian McCaffrey, I think he's going to get the targets. Devin Funchess is going to get the targets, but someone else has to step up. Burson, Callan Clay, Russell Shepard. He's got Demir Bird. These guys got to step up, man. So I think that's very important, specifically for the offense. Defensively, if you're going to blitz, put pressure on the receivers with their corners. For New Orleans, do what you were doing to beat the Carolina Panthers the first two times. Get Alvin Kamara out in space, possibly against the safeties. I hope not. The safeties are terrible in Carolina in space. And defensively, slow down the run game. Keep Cam from breaking those big runs. And Carolina team, that the passing game just isn't good enough. They have to be able to establish an effective running game to really beat most of these teams, especially these teams in the playoffs. So for New Orleans, slowing down the run game, Cam Newton's ability to run, and do what you've been doing offensively, getting Kamara out in space against the safeties, against the linebackers, because he's had an advantage every time. But those are my picks for NFL 2018 wild cards. Let me know down in the comment section, what are your picks? I didn't pick. I'm picking Carolina. Did I have to say that? But like I said, let me know down in the comment section, what are your picks? If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Thanks for watching.